Welcome! Today we're diving into 7 delicious food facts that look like trivia but reveal science, history, and surprising technology behind everyday tastes. I'll explain each fact in detail, clear up common exaggerations, and show why the story matters for food, culture, and even economies. Fact 1. Honey never truly spoils. Archaeologists have recovered sealed jars of honey from ancient tombs that remain chemically stable after thousands of years. The durability comes from honey's chemistry. It's a supersaturated sugar solution with very low water activity, meaning free water that microbes need is scarce. Honey is also slightly acidic and can produce small amounts of hydrogen peroxide when its enzymes react with water. Those 3 conditions, low water, acidic pH, and natural antimicrobial compounds, create an environment hostile to bacteria and molds. That said, taste and aroma do change with age, and contamination after opening can allow fermentation. So the practical rule is, properly sealed honey can keep for decades. An open jar can spoil if diluted or stored improperly. Fact 2. Carrots were not always orange. The wild progenitors and earliest domesticated carrots from Central Asia and the Middle East came in purple, red, white, and yellow varieties. Historical records and genetic work show that purple root cultivars were common in medieval markets. Orange carrots were later developed through selective breeding in Europe. Breeders sought sweeter, less woody roots with better storage qualities, and over centuries orange cultivars became commercially dominant. A popular legend credits Dutch cultivators and patriotic selection for the House of Orange. But the real story is agronomic. Orange carrots combine desirable texture, flavor, and shelf life, and thus displaced other land races in global agriculture. Today, purple and heirloom varieties still exist and are resurging in chefs' kitchens, reminding us that standard produce often reflects market selection, not natural necessity. Now for fact 3. If you were to guess the single most stolen food item in the world, what would come to mind? Maybe candy? Or perhaps alcohol? The surprising answer, in many places, is cheese. It's a global phenomenon that has earned it the title of the most frequently shoplifted food product. Across numerous countries, retail shrinkage reports and criminology studies consistently place cheese at the top of their lists. It's estimated that as much as 4% of all cheese is stolen, a rate that often surpasses fresh meat, chocolate, and even spirits. This isn't a random occurrence. There are very practical reasons behind this dairy-driven crime. First, cheese packs a high value into a small, dense package. A small block of aged cheddar or a wheel of brie can be worth a surprising amount, making it a lucrative target. Its compact, often vacuum-sealed packaging is easy to conceal. For certain desirable varieties like Parmigiano Reggiano, there's even a robust black market where it can be resold to unscrupulous restaurants or individuals. In response, retailers have developed specific anti-theft strategies. You might see high-end cheeses locked in plastic cases, fitted with large security tags, or even replaced with dummy blocks that you exchange at the counter. Economists and retail designers also point out that factors like store layout, local economic conditions, and specific demand heavily influence these theft rates. It's important to note that these are aggregated retail statistics. The pattern isn't universal for every community, but the persistence of cheese on these shrinkage lists reveals a fascinating intersection of value, portability, and opportunity in shaping petty crime. From a cultural perspective, the universal desirability of cheese across countless cuisines and its historical importance as a preserved high-protein food source make it a consistent target. Understanding this quirky fact of the modern food system helps explain complex retail loss prevention strategies and the careful thought that goes into how even a simple block of cheese is presented to you in the store. Fact 4. Bananas are botanically fascinating and more than a snack. Bananas are herbaceous plants. What looks like a trunk is layered leaf sheath, and botanically they are classified as berries. The commercial bananas most of us eat are sterile, seedless cultivars, propagated clonally from suckers or tissue culture. they don't reproduce sexually. That domestication produced convenient, easy-to-eat fruit, but also created genetic uniformity. That uniformity brings vulnerability. Diseases like the historical Panama disease and modern variants threaten clonal plantations precisely because genetic diversity is low. Nutritionally, bananas provide potassium, vitamin B6, vitamin C, and fiber. In many cultures, different banana parts have traditional uses, from poultices to electrolyte-rich snacks. So the banana story combines botany, domestication biology, food security, and cultural practice in one familiar fruit. Fact 5. After water, tea is the most consumed beverage on the planet. Every single day, billions of people start their morning, take a break, or wind down in the evening with a cup. This simple act of steeping leaves in hot water connects us to a global story that is both incredibly deep and wonderfully varied. But what exactly do we mean by tea? Technically, true teas, like black, green, and oolong, all come from a single plant species, Camellia sinensis. The incredible diversity in flavor and color arises from how the leaves are processed after harvesting. However, the term is now broadly used to include herbal infusions, or tisanes, like mint and chamomile, as well as regional specialties like South American yerba mate and Indian spiced chai. Consumption estimates vary based on these definitions, but the overall picture is clear. Data from national surveys and global market analysis consistently places tea far ahead of coffee, soda, and juice. Countries like Turkey, Ireland, and the United Kingdom lead in per capita consumption, where it's an integral part of the daily routine. Beyond sheer volume, tea's significance is profoundly cultural. It's woven into the fabric of society through ritualized ceremonies that emphasize mindfulness and hospitality, from Japan to Morocco. Its history is intertwined with global trade, the rise and fall of empires, and the shaping of entire colonial economies. From a health perspective, tea is a primary source of hydration for many. It also delivers a host of bioactive compounds. Most true teas contain caffeine, providing a gentle lift, alongside polyphenols like flavonoids, which are antioxidants studied for their wide-ranging physiological effects. So when we say tea is huge, we're not just talking about numbers. We're pointing to a dynamic force of commerce, culture, and chemistry that has shaped diets and daily rituals around the world for millennia. Let's explore our sixth fact: the humble bottle of soy sauce found in kitchens worldwide. While it's a modern staple, its story begins thousands of years ago, not as a liquid, but as a thick, savory paste. This evolution from ancient fermented pastes into a global umami powerhouse is a fascinating journey of culinary innovation and biochemistry. For centuries, long before bottled soy sauce was even conceived, cuisines across East Asia relied on these thick, fermented soybean pastes. Miso in Japan, jiang in China, and doenjang in Korea. These were fundamental flavoring agents, providing a deep, savory foundation to countless dishes. As these pastes aged, they naturally exuded a dark, intensely flavorful liquid, a savory byproduct that was too delicious to discard. Artisans in Japan and China saw the potential in this liquid. They began to refine the process, pressing the fermented mash to extract every last drop and developing methods to concentrate its flavor. This led to the creation of distinct soy sauces, with regional variations emerging based on the specific grains added, the length of fermentation, and the unique microbial cultures, the koji mold, used to kickstart the entire process. The magic lies in fermentation chemistry. The koji mold and other microbes release enzymes that act like molecular scissors, breaking down the complex proteins in soybeans into free amino acids, most notably glutamate. When glutamate hits our tongues, it binds to specific taste receptors, triggering the distinct savory sensation we call umami. This biochemical process is why a small dash of soy sauce does more than just add saltiness. It dramatically amplifies and deepens the savory perception of an entire dish, creating a satisfying fullness of flavor. Ultimately, the condiment's lineage from paste to liquid is a perfect example of fermentation as a transformative technology, a way to turn humble, inexpensive raw ingredients into a shelf-stable, globally cherished concentrate of pure flavor. Fact 7. The invention of milk chocolate is often traced to Swiss innovations rather than Belgian origins. Chocolate's long history begins in Mesoamerica, but the technical leap to stable, smooth milk chocolate involved experiments in milk processing and chocolate refinement in 19th-century Switzerland. Innovators such as Daniel Peter worked with condensed and evaporated milk technologies to blend dairy and cocoa into a creamy, shelf-stable bar. Subsequent advances in conching and refining improved texture and mouthfeel, allowing milk chocolate to be produced at scale. Belgium developed famed confectionery traditions and distinct styles, but if we credit the practical, technical invention of mass-market milk chocolate, Swiss confectioners were central. This fact therefore opens a window into food technology, combining preservation techniques with flavor chemistry to create an enduring consumer product. Synthesis. Each of these fun facts points to larger themes: chemistry and preservation in honey, domestication and market selection in carrots, retail economics for cheese, the botany and vulnerability of clonal crops like bananas, global cultural habits around tea, fermentation chemistry behind soy sauce, and industrial food innovation with milk chocolate. Fun facts become meaningful when we see the mechanisms, dates, and trade-offs that created them. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy evidence-based food stories that blend science, history, and tasty surprises, subscribe, and I'll bring more episodes like this. And if you have a food fact you think we missed, leave it in the comments, and we might feature it next time.